Today, we are going to talk about the emergent properties of water to contribute to Earth's suitability for life. And in this video lecture, we will study these four emergent properties. The first one that we will start today talking, and the first one that we're going to talk today is the cohesive behavior. Then we will talk about the ability to moderate temperature. Then we will talk about the expansion upon freezing. And finally, we will talk about the versatility as a solvent. And remember, all these properties of water are fundamental for the suitability of life in our planet. And we're going to start talking about hydrogen bonds and how hydrogen bonds make liquid water cohesive. And all these four emergent properties will depend on hydrogen bonds. So as a rule for water, if there is an important property that is important for life, you will write in your exam possibly hydrogen bonds, and you are very likely to be right. So what is cohesion? Cohesion is the tendency of molecules of the same kind. This is very important. They are the same kind to stick together. And cohesion in water is much stronger than in other liquids. And why? Because of our friend, the hydrogen bonds. And why this is important? Because the application is that allow plants to transport water and nutrients from their roots to their leaves. Why? Because as there is water here in close to the root, they are able to bring all this water because there are molecules that they are of the same kind and they attach to each other, and they are able to be transported to the leaves of the plants. So first property, cohesion. Remember, they have to be of the same kind, and the application, the transport of water and nutrients from the roots to their leaves. In this slide, I will explain you another property of emergent property of water that, again, as I said before, it will be due to hydrogen bonds. And while we were talking about cohesion of one type of molecules, now we're going to talk about two type of molecules that stick together, and this is called adhesion. So the tendency of two kind of molecules to stick together is called adhesion, while cohesion is only when you have the molecules stick together with one kind of molecule. And let me show you some implications and some application of this property. So here you can see in this schematic the evaporation. Let's imagine that here we have the sun, and the sun will cause evaporation, and this evaporation will push the water from the roots to the leaves. And as I said before, we were talking about cohesion, and when we talk about cohesion, we were talking about that the molecules are stick together. All the molecules of water, if you see here, these are hydrogen bonds. However, when we have adhesion, the molecules of water will allow the hydrogen bonds to interact with the cell walls of the plants. And in that way, the hydrogen bonds help to resist the downward pull of the gravity. So, two important properties. Cohesion is the first one. Remember, one type of molecule. And the second one is adhesion. That is two type of molecules. And one, it will be between the molecules of water, and the other one will be between the molecules of water and the cell wall. Now, to talk again about hydrogen bonds and our property, we're going to talk about surface tension. That is a measure of how difficult it is to break the surface of a liquid. And I'm sure that you have seen insect like this, and this will be possibly the most known application of surface tension for biological system. And this is a water striders that are able to stand on water without breaking the water. And how they do it, again, you know this, because of hydrogen bonds, because hydrogen bonds give water high surface tension and allow water to behave as if they were coated with an invisible film. So we have talked about three properties: cohesion, adhesion, and now we talk about surface tension. And all of them are important for the suitability of life in our planet. Now I want that you see this map. It's a map of Australia, of the Campbell biology of Australia, and I'm sure that you will have later. I will show you one of Canada, and I want that you analyze what is the effect of a large body of water on climate. So remember there are three zones, and here you can see the different temperature. And I want that you stop the video and think for a minute, what is this map telling us? What is the data telling us? So you can see that here we have one region, here we have a second region, and here we have a third region. So we have three regions that are important. And you can see that this region is colder when you're closer to the coast, close to the ocean, and the farther that you go, the warmer the temperature is. So there is an increase in temperature, and this is very important for the life in our planet. And let's see if this is only in Australia or this is also happening in Canada. So again, if you see here, close to the coast, you have cooler temperatures that are far from the large body of water. And why do you think that this happened? And again, the answer will be hydrogen bonds. Yeah, but why hydrogen bonds are able to regulate the temperature of this region? What do you think? So to understand why hydrogen bonds moderate temperature, we have to go back and try to remember some of the physics that you learned in high school. Hydrogen bonds allow water, or give water the great ability to resist temperature changes better than other liquids. And why? Because heat can be defined as the energy associated with the movement of atoms. So in winter, atoms are moving much less and much slower. However, in summer, when it's hotter, the atoms will move much more. The trajectory, if you follow the trajectory of this, of each atom, of each molecule, you will find a longer trajectory and much faster. And temperature measures the intensity of heat. Yeah, so how do we apply that? When it's hot, the molecules of water, what they are going to do? They will evaporate. However, as you have hydrogen bonds here, so look, there are hydrogen bonds everywhere in the water. The first thing that they have to do is, when it gets hot, is to break these hydrogen bonds. To break this one and break this one. So the evaporation is not going to happen right away. This is not happening. They will need to absorb more heat to evaporate the water. And actually, so this is why you have less fluctuation, because the hydrogen bond is producing some type of homeostasis in the temperature. And later, during the night, what happened is that the hydrogen bonds reform again. So the heat is lost and the hydrogen bonds form again. So in the long term, what you're going to see is that you will need higher temperatures to break these hydrogen bonds. So you will have a way to moderate the temperature around the areas that there are large body of water. And this regulation of temperature allow water ecosystems to have an incredible diversity. And here you have some examples of the incredible diversity, not only in mammals, but also fish, and even more in microorganisms. And now I wonder you think about extreme temperatures. Do they have low diversity? Do you have higher diversity? So when we have in frozen regions or in regions that are very hot like geysers or volcanoes, definitely life is there, but we have a lower diversity and the organisms have to adapt to that, and they are important organisms, but definitely the diversity is lower. So the water ability to control temperature is a fundamental life supporting property